If you've ever felt like you were drowning in responsibilities with no one to turn to, this story might just give you hope. Before we dive in, take a second to hit that like button and subscribe. Stories like these don't come around every day, and I promise this journey of love, courage, and second chances will be worth every minute. James Collins stood in the doorway of his daughter's bedroom, watching her peaceful sleep. 6-year-old Lily clutched her worn teddy bear, blissfully unaware of the bills piling up on the kitchen table or the exhaustion etched into her father's face. The digital clock on her nightstand blinked 11:58 p.m., December 31st. In 2 minutes, a new year would begin, but James felt no excitement, only the crushing weight of another 12 months of struggling alone. "Happy New Year, sweetheart," he whispered, gently closing her door. In the dim light of his living room, James collapsed onto the couch and pulled out his phone. The company-wide New Year's message thread had dozens of responses already, colleagues sharing ambitious resolutions and vacation photos. James had avoided the conversation all day, but something compelled him to respond now, fingers hovering over the keyboard. His boss, Alexandra Chen, had started the thread with a simple question: "What's your one wish for the new year?" James stared at the screen, the professional responses blurring before his tired eyes. Before he could stop himself, raw honesty poured out. "My wish is simple: to stop feeling so alone. To find someone who understands what it's like to put on a brave face every morning when you're terrified inside. Someone who sees me, not just as an employee or a father, but as a man still hoping for his own happiness. Happy New Year, everyone." His thumb hit send before his brain could intervene. Horror washed over him as he realized what he'd done. This wasn't some anonymous forum, this was a company thread with his name and position clearly displayed. And he'd just emotionally unloaded in front of everyone, including Alexandra Chen, the brilliant, intimidating CEO who rarely showed emotion herself. James frantically searched for a way to delete the message, but the damage was done. Notifications began appearing, colleagues reacting with heart emojis and supportive comments. But the only response that mattered was the one he dreaded most. His phone buzzed with a private message. "Alexandra Chen, James, are you free to talk? Not as your boss. Just as someone who understands more than you might think." The message seemed so out of character for the composed, professional woman who ran their marketing firm with precision and poise. In 3 years working under her, James had never seen Alexandra reveal anything personal. She was respected, admired, and completely enigmatic. With trembling fingers, James replied, "I'm free. Lily's asleep." His phone rang seconds later. "I hope I didn't wake you," Alexandra said, her voice softer than he'd ever heard it. "No, I'm sorry about that message. It was unprofessional and..." "It was honest," she interrupted. "And honesty is rare enough that when I see it, I pay attention." James sank deeper into his couch, closing his eyes. "Still, I shouldn't have." "James," Alexandra said firmly, "I didn't call to reprimand you. I called because I know what it's like to put on that brave face every day." The silence between them hummed with possibility. 2 years ago," she continued, "I lost my husband. Car accident. 1 minute we were planning our future, the next I was planning a funeral." James's eyes flew open. "Alexandra, I had no idea. I keep it private. The company was just taking off, and I couldn't afford to be seen as emotionally compromised. So I buried myself in work, built walls so high no one could see over them." Her voice caught slightly. "But your message tonight, it was like reading my own thoughts." James sat up straighter, heart pounding. "I never would have guessed. You always seem so put together. That's the illusion, isn't it? We're all just trying our best to look like we know what we're doing." She paused. "James, would you like to have coffee sometime? Not as colleagues. Just as two people who might understand each other." The question hung in the air between them, fragile and unexpected. "I'd like that," James finally said, surprised by the hope blooming in his chest. "Good. New Year's Day. That little cafe on Maple Street. 10 o'clock. I'll be there," James promised, wondering if he was dreaming. After they hung up, James sat motionless, staring at his phone. Had his boss, the Alexandra Chen, just asked him on what sounded suspiciously like a date? And had he agreed? The professional boundaries seemed suddenly blurred, exciting and terrifying all at once. Morning came too quickly. James woke to Lily bouncing on his bed, her excitement for the new year infectious. "Daddy, can we have pancakes? It's a special day." James smiled, lifting her into his arms. "It certainly is, pumpkin. And yes to pancakes, but then I need to ask Mrs. Rodriguez if she can watch you for a couple hours." "Are you going to work?" Lily pouted. "No, sweetie. I'm meeting a friend." Getting ready felt foreign. James couldn't remember the last time he'd fussed over his appearance for something other than a client meeting. He chose a casual sweater that Lily once said made his eyes look extra blue, and spent an embarrassing amount of time trying to tame his unruly hair. The cafe was busy with New Year's Day patrons when James arrived, scanning the room nervously. And then he saw her, Alexandra Chen, without her usual tailored suit and commanding presence. Instead, she wore jeans and a soft cream sweater, her dark hair falling loose around her shoulders. She looked younger, vulnerable somehow. She spotted him and waved, a hesitant smile transforming her face. "You came," she said as he approached. "Did you think I wouldn't?" Alexandra shrugged. "I thought you might reconsider." "Boss, employee, it's complicated." James sat across from her, studying the woman he thought he knew. Life is complicated. But sometimes the complicated things are worth figuring out. Their coffee stretched into lunch, conversation flowing with surprising ease. Alexandra told him about growing up in a strict household where success was the only acceptable outcome. James shared stories of Lily's mother walking out when their daughter was just 2, unable to handle the responsibilities of parenthood. "She sends birthday cards," James explained, tracing the rim of his cup. "But she's never asked to see Lily." Alexandra reached across the table, her fingers brushing his. "Her loss. Lily sounds wonderful." "She is. She's everything to me." James hesitated. "That's part of what makes dating so hard. I'm not just me, I'm a package deal." "I wouldn't expect anything less," Alexandra said quietly. "Family should always come first." As they left the cafe, an awkward moment hung between them, the uncertainty of what came next. "I should get back to Lily," James said reluctantly. Alexandra nodded. "Of course. But James? I'd like to see you again. Both of you, maybe." The suggestion caught him off guard. "You want to meet Lily? If that's okay. I understand if it's too soon." James considered this, the protective father in him warring with the man who'd just experienced the most connection he'd felt in years. "Maybe we could go to the Children's Museum next weekend? Lily loves it there." Alexandra's smile was radiant. "I'd love that." The following weeks unfolded like a dream. Professional boundaries were carefully maintained at work. Alexandra was still his boss, still commanding and focused. But evenings and weekends revealed a different woman, one who laughed at Lily's jokes, who brought children's books she'd loved as a girl, who looked at James with growing affection. Their first kiss happened on a snowy evening in February, after Lily had fallen asleep watching a movie. It was tentative at first, then deepening with months of unspoken longing. "I've wanted to do that since New Year's Day," Alexandra confessed, her forehead resting against his. "Only that long?" James teased. "I've wanted to since my second interview." But reality couldn't be held at bay forever. Whispers began at the office, subtle glances, conversations that stopped when either entered a room. James felt the weight of judgment from colleagues who assumed he was sleeping his way to promotion. Alexandra noticed too. "People are talking," she said one night as they washed dishes side by side in his kitchen. "Let them talk," James replied, though anxiety churned in his stomach. "It's affecting you." "I see it." James set down the plate he was drying. "What do you want to do?" Alexandra turned to face him, her expression serious. "I want to be with you. But I don't want to damage your reputation or mine. We need to be smart about this." The solution came in the form of a company restructuring. Alexandra created a new department that would report directly to her COO instead of her, and offered James the leadership position, a promotion he'd earned through his work, documented through years of performance reviews. "This isn't favoritism," she insisted. "This is recognizing your talent while removing the direct reporting conflict." Still, the transition wasn't smooth. Some colleagues remained skeptical, and James worked twice as hard to prove himself worthy of the position. The pressure took its toll on their relationship, creating tense silences and careful distance. The breaking point came in June, 6 months after that first New Year's message. James arrived at Alexandra's apartment to find her surrounded by work papers, distracted and distant. "Maybe we should take a step back," he suggested after another stilted conversation. Alexandra looked up sharply. "What does that mean?" "It means this is hard, harder than I expected. We're both stressed, you're buried in work, I'm trying to prove myself, and Lily's starting to get attached to you. If this doesn't work out..." "So your solution is to end it before it can fail?" Alexandra stood, anger flashing in her eyes. "That's the easy way out, James. There's nothing easy about this." His voice rose despite himself. "Do you know what people call me at work? The boss's boy toy. Do you know how that feels?" Alexandra flinched. "I didn't know. Because I didn't tell you. Because I thought I could handle it. But it's not just about me anymore. Lily asked me yesterday if you were going to be her new mommy." The words hung heavy between them. Alexandra sank back onto the couch, her face pale. "What did you tell her?" James ran a hand through his hair. "I told her that you care about her very much, but that grown-up relationships are complicated." A diplomatic answer, Alexandra said quietly. "I'm trying to protect her heart. And mine." Alexandra was silent for a long moment. "When David died, I promised myself I wouldn't let anyone close enough to hurt me again. Then you sent that message, and something just broke open." She looked up at him, eyes shining with unshed tears. "I'm scared too, James. Terrified. But I don't want to lose this, lose you and Lily, because we're afraid of what might happen." James sat beside her, taking her hand. "So what do we do?" "We fight for this. Together. Whatever it takes." The following months brought changes. Alexandra stepped back from day-to-day operations, grooming her COO to take more responsibility while she focused on strategic direction. The distance helped quiet the office gossip, and James's department thrived under his leadership, silencing the critics who questioned his qualifications. By Thanksgiving, Alexandra had become a fixture in their lives. She and Lily had developed their own special bond, baking cookies together and creating elaborate stories about Lily's stuffed animals. The little girl who once asked if Alexandra would be her mommy now simply accepted her presence as a natural part of their family. On Christmas Eve, as Lily arranged cookies for Santa, Alexandra pulled James into the kitchen. "I have something for you," she said, handing him a small wrapped box. "But I wanted to give it to you privately first." James unwrapped it carefully to find a key nestled in tissue paper. "It's to my house," Alexandra explained. "I thought maybe, after the holidays, you and Lily might consider moving in. If it's not too soon." James stared at the key, emotions overwhelming him. "Are you sure?" Alexandra took his face in her hands. I've never been more sure of anything. This past year has taught me that sometimes the best things come from the most unexpected places. One honest message changed everything. Daddy. Alexandra. Santa won't come if you're hiding. Lily called from the living room. They shared a smile, the key warm between them. We should get back in there, James said. In a minute. Alexandra's expression grew serious. There's something else I need to say. When you sent that message last New Year's Eve, you wished for someone who would see you, all of you. I want you to know that I do see you, James. The dedicated father, the brilliant marketer, the man who snores a little when he's really tired. I do not snore, he protested with a laugh. You absolutely do. And I love that about you, along with everything else. She took a deep breath. I love you, James Collins. You and Lily both. James felt something shift and settle in his chest, the last piece of a puzzle falling into place. We love you too. More than I thought possible. As they rejoined Lily in the living room, James couldn't help but think about the desperate man who had sent that message exactly 1 year ago. How could he have known that his moment of vulnerability would lead to this, a family being rebuilt, love found in the most unexpected place? New Year's Eve came again, and this time, James wasn't alone on his couch. Alexandra and Lily were building a blanket fort in the living room, giggling as they draped sheets over chair backs. Daddy, come see. It's our castle for watching the ball drop. Lily called, her face alight with joy. As James crawled into the makeshift fort, his phone pinged with the annual company New Year's message. Alexandra had continued the tradition, asking everyone the same question, what's your one wish for the new year? This time, James didn't hesitate. With Alexandra's head on his shoulder and Lily curled against his side, he typed his response. Last year, I wished to find someone who would see me. This year, my wish is simpler, to never forget how blessed I am to have been seen, to have been heard, and to have found a love that began with one honest message. Happy New Year to all of you, may you find the courage to speak your truth and the joy that comes from being truly heard. As the countdown began on TV, James looked at the woman beside him, the boss who had become so much more, and the daughter who had gained not just a potential stepmother but a family made whole again. 10 seconds. Lily shouted, bouncing with excitement. Alexandra squeezed his hand. Any regrets, she whispered. James shook his head. Not a single one. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. As fireworks exploded on the television screen, James kissed Alexandra, his heart full with the knowledge that sometimes, the most life-changing moments begin with the courage to admit what we truly need. Sometimes, a simple wish can change everything. If this story touched your heart, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories that remind us all that love can find us in the most unexpected places, often when we need it most. Share in the comments if you've ever had a moment of honesty that changed your life. I read every comment and would love to hear your stories too.